sake of time, we are going to transition to a different topic. So we've been discussing about the methodology first, then some of the tools, and now we are going to explore how, with the association, you can, let's say, work on your compliance, the compliance of your systems with the different regulation. And so we are lucky to have 𝗂𝘁𝗂𝗂𝗂 with us. So we are working for IRT Systemics and the association with and you are leading the standardization work group of the association. And so I will let you present where we stand.
Thank you, Nicolas. Yeah, today I will present how to build compliance with the standards. So sure that we already explained a little bit the methodology, some component, and all of these systems, they should be compliant with the regulation first and the standards, voluntary standards in terms of safety. Second. Then I will discuss and present the regulation of the European Union artificial intelligence and how the standardization is organized, how to build compliance, and an example on the methodology presented earlier. So the AI Act, it's called EU AI Act, is the law, it's a regulation produced by the European Commission, and it's written by lawyers. It's a little bit difficult to technical people and experts to understand it. And I will go further later how we make this relationship between these two parts. Then it's risk-based, but a little bit risk-based is not safety risk. So I will explain it just later. And of course, it's focused on the protection of human rights and users. Then the AI Act, I think that I already explained and presented this famous levels of risks about the human right risk usage. We have the first one, the unacceptable risk. We cannot in civilian systems use any kind of things like social scoring, facial recognition, or dark patterns, etc. But we have high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk. High risk like safety about the health or airspace, etc. And of course, minimal risk like video games and spam filters. And before starting to explain further the AI Act, there is knowing that the European Commission, they wrote something which is law, and which is AI Act. They asked the GTC 21, which is Sensenelec organization, to write standards. And if they agree and they accept the standards, they will become harmonized standards, and they will be law. They will be published in official journal, and they will be free. And of course, they will ensure the conformity or compliance presumption. Then there are 10 standardization requests done by the European Commission, as presented in this slide. We can see the accuracy, robustness, cybersecurity, of course, risk management, and we can see the trustworthiness as the horizontal of horizontal standards, because we are working in horizontal. We are not working in sectorial or vertical standards. We are working in horizontal one. Then this standardization request was organized by GTC 21 as follows. We have articles. Of course, there are more than 100 articles in AI Act, but the European Commission asked only for these articles. And in the primary art project, as you can see, they are harmonized standards proposed by GTC 21. And we have the trustworthy framework, which is a huge standard. And we have data set, and we have bias, we have cybersecurity, and we have other also supporting normative references, which are not primary projects, but they are also seen by the European Commission to be sure that the content or technical content is well written and is acceptable for them to yeah, because we are not writing everything. If something is already presented or defined in some standard, we just do references on that. And there is a little bit, yeah, there is a short timeline because we are in January 2026. In August 2026, we will apply the AI Act. And in the 2nd of August to 2027, we'll have obligation for higher risk systems application. Then it's very important because to write a standard is not so easy because we should have acceptation or acceptance of all national bodies. It means all European countries and consensus between all experts, which takes time. And when we see like this 6 months is too short, and in somehow it's not like small deliverable done by one expert. Then if I go back, if I go further, I will explain how it works GTC 21 and how it works SC42, which is ISO-IC. It's international standardization organization, and GTC1 SC42 is focused on artificial intelligence. But this second one doesn't consider the AI Act. Of course, we are working both because the European company will also do some business with non-European countries, so we have to consider this one too in the association. Then if I try to explain this, I found this slide from Sebastian 𝗂𝘂, who is the chair of GTC 21. I inspired from them because he explained well the idea of the organization of the international and the European standardization. We can see that the national bodies, we have AFNOR for France, DIN for Germany, and NSA for Ireland, etc. And we have the first level, which is Europe. We have in one side the CEN, which is Comité Européen de Normalisation. The name is in French, which is European Standardization Committee, and the other one, which is the Electrotechnique Normalisation, the European Electrotechnique Normalisation Committee, which is Comité Européen de Normalisation Électrotechnique. And this is the European one, and we have the international one, which is International Standardization Organization ISO, and we have International Electrotechnical Commission IEC. As I said just before, is organized in GTC1 SC42. Then in each one we have working groups organized by topics and by skills. In GTC 21 we have the operational aspect, engineering aspect, foundational aspect, and societal aspect, and of course we have cyber security for AI systems. In each working group we have several standards in development. Then the association, or the European Trustworthy Association, is contributing in several important standards. As we did the logo of the association, we are in the AI risk management, quality and governance of data set, and bias. We are AI trustworthy framework, and of course computer vision in the other side about the supporting normative references standards. This is the timeline. So as you can see, it's we have also the review of national bodies, which is called ballot, and we need to give more time to reviewer and other experts to validate and to evaluate the standard, because it will be applied by experts and companies engineers should understand without any ambiguity of the written standard. Then, as we can see that we are a little bit short, and we try to do our best, and the association is also contributing in the best way to respect this work timeline. Of course, there is this one, and there is second one. As we can see that we have the association where it's contributing. Then now we will go to build compliance. Before build compliance, we have to contribute in standards. And to write standards, we need scientific work, scientific knowledge. We have methodologies, we have guidelines, we have engineering process. All of these skills, they contribute in the writing of standards. So we try to build consensus between someone who is an engineer, in his mind how to process all these steps, and the other one is more the technical work. Are we respecting some theoretical theory from the science or something like this, and the methodology also. And when we have standards, the product, if I want to sell or make in the market some product which handles the AI or any service, I have to be aligned. I have to be aligned with the safety, the risk requirement specification, and fundamental rights. So we can summarize this that the build compliance is a skills hub. We have the standardization in one, which is as I presented right now, and we have the regulation. I presented AI Act, but we have also the AI Act. We have also RGPD, which is famous about the personal data. We have technical skills as mathematics, safety, engineering, artificial intelligence sectors, well, the application, and we have also the companies which what they are doing. It depends if we are talking with large groups or laboratories or startups, etc. And we have some methodologies, some work, some knowledge from the project and programs like @𝗀𝗻ance.ai, and certainly I think from UK and another one from Germany, etc. Then. If we go now in the how to build the compliance, the main steps, we have the map and the identification of gaps. So we should identify or verify all the requirements about regulatory, market, specific sectors, etc. So and the second one, we consolidate the process and the requirement about the product or service. And of course, we evaluate the assessment in terms of risk. And of course, each risk, we try to see what is the level, is it a red flag, what is the probability of occurrence, etc. And once this first step is done, we develop, we implement, we document. We have to implement the quality management system, and we have to develop some action plan and do the implementation of changes and the modification of product to be aligned with the product or service we want to put in the market. And of course, the third one is the evaluation and validation, validation and certification when it's needed. So the first one is, of course, the internal audit, and the second one is the external audit. The certification when the product need this certification. I will focus only on the first one, the other one, and by exemplifying it with the methodology presented in the beginning of this Digital Factory Day. So the example, we try to just show some examples, some key point on the methodology, specifically the robustness and transparency, and what are the standards selected. This is the famous W cycle from the end-to-end methodology. Then, as I said in the beginning, we have to identify the relevant standards. Right now, the harmonized standards are not published yet, so I didn't do this mapping with this one. Even I have the access to the standards. We will do this, of course, alignment when they will be published, hopefully in the next August. So the selected one. The selected we have the IA system life cycle published in 2023, and we have the robustness assessment. We have 3 parts, and we did all of them, but the third one is still in development. And we have management system, and of course the measurement of the engineering and software quality for the system handling the IA system, the IA models. The beginning, when we want to align or to select some standards, we should check and read the scope of the standard, because the scope is limiting what is written inside the standard. And I gave for each one what the scope. For example, the IA system lifecycle process, and I gave for the robustness, for the formula robustness, the part 1, and of course the second part. I give the same thing for the management system, and of course the software and system quality evaluation for systems handling IA. Then we can see in here that is really don't try to read all of the right side. Just we identify that we can use the formal method for robustness evaluation in the standard, and we mention them in the evaluation, in the methodology. And we can say that there is alignment, there is mapping between the knowledge or technical knowledge explained in the methodology and the requirement, also the approach presented in the standard is the same for statistical approaches, and of course the approach by design, etc. So all of them. And in addition to that, in the methodology document, we identify all documents that allow us to find this information in the standard. So another example with the risk for the famous 42001 standard for risk management. Then we can see that they mentioned the monitoring, they mentioned the measurement of the risk, and all of this point in risk management. Even we mentioned that it shall be, because in standardization there is we have to know 2 things. I mean, there is should, which is a recommendation, and shall, which is obligation. And when we see shall in the standard, that we have to perform and to evaluate that specific that specific thing, maybe metric or other what we want to do. Then, but as I said in the first step, we have to identify gaps too. So when we have some additional things in methodology or additional things in the standards, we have to identify them. For example, in the methodology, we are talking about gray box, and there is no this gray box in the standard, and we should know if the technical experts, they need this gray box. Then if they need them, we have to push them in standards and to push them with some justify why we need this gray box to be included in the standard to resolve some specific research problematic or technological issues in the implementation, for example. And of course, we have future work about the alignment with the data quality. And as I said before, the alignment with harmonized standards when they will be published in next August halfway. So thank you for your listening. I hope that I have 1 minute for question. I see that there is one question. Carla, do you think that we need question? I have question or no?
What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, there is 𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗂𝘁 also in the standardization, but the association is not is not contributing 𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗂𝘁. But yeah, this is about the slide. Yeah, the inspired slide, or the Sebastian slide. I almost copied. He mentioned 𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗂𝘁. Because he has more, because he is contributing on that, but in the association we are all only contributing in 𝗀𝘀𝘂𝗁𝗁 and ISO. So of course that we it exists, but we are not working in terms of the association. But I don't think that 𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗂𝘁 answering or I don't know if the European Commission did some standardization request for 𝗀𝘂𝘁. This is a good question, but of course they have some standards, important standards too, but we are not contributing on 𝗂𝘁𝘁 standards. I think that there is only this question. So thank you, Nicolas. And
thanks a lot,
thank you for your listening. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. And indeed, for 𝗂𝘂𝘁𝗂𝘁, maybe we have to look into this. And of course, the standardization strategy of the association can evolve also based on the interest of the members of the association. And so that's let's say, something that we can tweak over time.